That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, to a 3 concerns about Notre Dame football making a run through the CFP edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, thanks for being here. You can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni Boy out as well. Notifications that way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish, Always Irishing. Emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it if you don't want to see my face. How do you think I feel? Nobody blames you for that one. 312-988-15. Dialed up. Tell Uncle Yanni Boy all you've heard and seen. Notre Dame Fighting Irish brought to you by Sports Illustrated. Read all about it. Patreon.com/Always Irish. He the former captain. He the leading tackler. It's Mike Goolsby. It's Jared Clark. I got an offensive Notre Dame player, defensive Notre Dame player. We got it all cracking over there. Promo code NDCFP. Get yourself a discount for the playoff run if you're not involved already. For that window of time, we're in the playoff discount. We want people to be able to get in and grow with us and experience all this. Thanks to everybody who's jumped on board. All right. Welcome in. Welcome back. As I and many others have been talking about for some time now, there seems to be a lot of parity in college football this year for a lot of different reasons. NIL, the no sit-out transfer portal, just the more transactional nature of a lot of this stuff now lends itself to that more, that kind of jumping around, not loyal to one spot, whatever it is. Whatever it is, for whatever reason you think it is, there seems to be a lot more parity. It feels like this is a year where anybody could beat anybody, and every team left in this field has strengths and weaknesses, and everybody has some bracket matchups that would be more favorable or less favorable based on their strengths and weaknesses and who else they run up against, whatever. There's a bunch of different ways to try and win a football game, right? But this is truly a year, I believe, where any team in this field that gets hot, catches a good bracket, and maybe a couple breaks, buddy, it's title town. It's title town. Now, with that in mind, we went over earlier in the week my bullet point reasons displaying how Notre Dame could make a run and be the team that actually wins this thing. I feel that I also have a moral responsibility and a moral and ethical obligation to also look at where Notre Dame might be vulnerable in this thing. Look at some areas that may cause Notre Dame some problems. I feel like I have an obligation to do that and balance things out to show that I'm fair and I'm not just blindly thinking Notre Dame's perfect here. So here we go. Here are 3 things I'm worried about that could come up and cause an issue with Notre Dame at some point maneuvering through this field. Number 1, the passing offense. The passing offense, okay? Should Notre Dame get down a couple scores somehow, the brakes are beating the boys, a bad bounce, whatever, something stupid happens, and you're down a couple scores or whatever, do you believe Notre Dame could quick strike, throw their way back down the field, score real quick, get big chunk plays, quick down the field and score and get yourself back in position to be in a ball game? Do you really believe that? From the way you've seen Notre Dame operate offense all year, do you believe in a playoff pressure situation, if they get down multiple scores, you trust Riley Leonard and those receivers to get up and down the field fast in big chunks and throw themselves back into an actual fight in a ball game? I don't know. We haven't really seen them be able to do it all year consistently. I will say, though, sometimes we've seen a spark in like the 2-minute drill where they're up-tempo a little bit. Maybe you just have to do that and they find more rhythm. But you all know what I mean. Throwing the ball all over the lot is not how Notre Dame won their football games this year. It's just not a strength for a bunch of reasons. You can't force it to be a strength if it ain't one. Like, it's just not Notre Dame's DNA this year. But at some point, at some point, even if it's not to chase a couple scores from behind. What if you're in the playoff and you play a really, really good defense and a smart defensive coordinator, and they have great athletes, and they are just selling out to stop the run, and they have the athletes to be able to crash the line and do it. They are daring Notre Dame and Mikey Denbrock and Riley Leonard and those offensive linemen to block and the receivers to get open. They're daring you to throw the ball to beat them. Can Notre Dame do it? Can Notre Dame do it? So it's not only just if you end up a few scores behind. What if it's a close game and you're just playing a defense that has some dudes and they're bottling up the run? They're daring you to throw it. They're sending extra resources. They're daring Notre Dame to beat you through the air. I'm not sure Notre Dame can do it or not. I hope they can, but I don't know. Passing offense ranks 101st out of 134. Not too ideal. 196 yards per game. It's just not Notre Dame's strength. It's not who they want to be. But at some point, I just think you're going to need it. I just think you're going to end up needing it somewhere along the line. These defenses are going to start being too good to just let you line up and run it the way Notre Dame wants to. Surely, Mike Denbrock, with all this time and everything, can scheme something up, right? What about Goolsby? And I talked about this on the Patreon. Some people might think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy at all. Can we get Cam Williams out there? Can we sneak Cam Williams out there for a big pass play? Nobody's seen him all year. He's so fast, but nobody's known it. Nobody even knows his number. He ain't on the radar. Nothing. Sneak that guy out there in a formation and let him get behind the defense one time. Be a hero, kid. Be a hero, kid. Oh, John, he doesn't know the full playbook by now. It's a prep. He doesn't know all the blocks you got to do as a wide receiver. I'm not asking him to do any of that. I'm asking for you to get real clever and real tricky and run a guy that has blazing speed into a huddle that no one's expecting and let him get behind the defense. I'm not asking him to know the full route tree with precision and be a perfect blocker. I don't need that from him right now. It's funny to me the amount of people that are like against doing something like this, but our passing offense is not good. I don't understand it's not good. So 101st out of 134. And you're against what? A spark? How much lower is it going to get? I just can't understand. You can't do that. Why? How much worse can it get? What could go wrong if you throw the guy a deep ball? He catches it. He drops it. You get a penalty. He scores a touchdown. It's a 50-yard punt. I don't know. I'm just saying surely there's something Denbrock could scheme up here that nobody's seen in the past game to maybe give us a spark. There's got to be something. So that's number one, you guys, is I just think at some point you're either going to need to because of the score or because you're playing a really good defense that's selling out against the run. You're going to need to pass to get this done. Can you do it? Number two, run defense. And I want to start this by saying, I know Notre Dame's defense is really, really good. I know it's an elite unit. I know it's top 5, top 6 in a ton of key categories. I love the defense. I understand all that. That doesn't mean they're perfect. That doesn't mean that they can't be worked on with a proper, good offensive coordinator and some talent. Notre Dame's defense is so good at what they do, it's covered up some weaknesses. Again, when you get into the playoff, are there going to be some really good coaching staffs and talent that can take advantage of your weak points, even on a strength of the team? This is real stuff. This is not me nitpicking, trying to be negative or whatever. No, I'm just telling you, this is the playoff. These smart coaches are going to nitpick where you are weakest, even in your strength. They're going to find it and try and exploit it. And you got to stop it. The run defense for Notre Dame's 51st in the country. You're allowing an average of 139 yards. It doesn't seem awful. That doesn't seem like egregious, whatever. It's 51st in the country. For reference, Indiana's number one, 75 yards a game. 75 yards a game. Again, everything with their stats and a lot of Notre Dame's, it's like, who did you do it against? How real is this? And that's why a lot of people reference what Indiana did to Ohio State, numbers-wise, as a comparison. Because it's the only team they played with top-end talent, not even counting Michigan. So are there teams that can either out-scheme Notre Dame in the run game or just bully them and push them around up front? For as good as this defense is, this is something to look at. Is Notre Dame going to have to give extra resources at the line of scrimmage, putting more pressure on that back end to be even more perfect than they are without a lot of help? I don't know. Really, really good unit, but I just wonder, is there somebody that's going to out-scheme them or something, or have a big enough O-line you can push us around? That's the other thing, you guys. Notre Dame's defensive front is not huge. You don't have like Lewis Nix in there clogging up everything or whatever. You're a little light in the caboose up front for my likings. You don't have a big anchor 340 guy in there messing everything up. That's a weak spot. That's a weak spot. Who can take advantage of it against us? Number 3, similarly, tackles for loss. Notre Dame's 88th in the country. So getting pressure on the quarterback, shooting gaps, blowing up series for teams. That's what happens. When you get these tackles behind the line of scrimmage, you're blowing up series, and it just takes one of those plays usually, and they're off schedule. Like, it's the formula to beating Navy and Army. The way they play is get them off schedule on early downs. You all know that. You would think Notre Dame's a little better than that, 88th in the country. So can you find some more creative ways to deploy and get home up front? Is there anything else you can do you haven't shown yet? Or do you just need your guys to get after it and shoot gaps and get in the backfield more often? Beat their blocks. So listen, I love Notre Dame's defense. It is the heartbeat and the soul of this team, and it has been for a very long time. It's a top 3 unit overall, and the overall numbers bear that out, all things considered. And there's some really, really good strengths to cover up some weaknesses with Notre Dame's defense. But now we're not just talking about beating Miami, Ohio, or Purdue, or Georgia Tech, or whatever. This is a title run. These are the teams with the best coaches and players this year. Any weakness you have is going to be found out and exploited. Especially, think about this. I'm not taking for granted Indiana. That's going to be a physical matchup with a very confident Indiana team. If you get by them, what do you think Kirby Smart and his staff's doing, having all this time with the bye while we're playing? To sit there, that's got to be like, they got good coaches, you guys, and that guy knows what he's doing. So they are sitting there breaking all the Notre Dame weaknesses and stuff down. So they're gonna come after you, and Notre Dame's gonna have to have answers for some of this stuff. But that's what I'm saying. You're not just talking about beating Miami, Ohio, or Purdue anymore. This is a title run. These teams with good coaches are going to scheme stuff up to challenge your weaknesses, and they have the athletes to be able to do it. Now, with the offense, and again, I almost feel bad picking on the defense on this stuff. They're such a good unit, but that doesn't mean every single aspect of them is perfect. They have weaknesses. We got to talk about them. I hope you all understand that. That's the responsible thing to do. And with this offense, listen, if you can ride out 4 more games and win them with the 3 horsemen running the ball and Love and Price and Leonard, go for it. God bless you. If Notre Dame could do that and make it work, go for it. I love it. But could you imagine what this Notre Dame offense would be like if you had like 2 to 3 good receivers and you were a true passing threat, and Riley Leonard was a little more known and better at doing that, and you had some guys that throw to you, could you imagine how hard Notre Dame would be to beat combined with that defense? So listen, I just thought it was fair. That since we did a show about, why Notre Dame could win it all, you got to balance it out and be fair about maybe some areas where we may not be as strong. And if you don't think we have any, here's what you're doing. You're wandering through the wilderness blind and you're not willing to see anything. I don't want to see this. Notre Dame's perfect. It doesn't work that way. So let's be fair about all this stuff, and then let's go win 4 more games any way you can. Don't forget to check out the merchandise. The link is in the description. You can browse and carouse all the different Always Irish gear. Make sure you head over there and get something for the next tailgate. Thanks for being here.